Good evening, all you Minties, and welcome back to another episode of Reelz Talk with your host, the amazing Amanda, and my lovely co-host, the Uncanny Omar.
Who has not been banned from the Oscars for 10 years.
Yes, unlike other people.
Unlike nice guy Ezra Miller.
Nice guy Ezra Miller, but
We do
he
have a lot
might
to
have.
talk about.
Yeah, we do, but sounds like Warner Brothers might be having some issues with that too, and they're having emergency meetings, and we'll talk about that in a little bit
There
as
was a
well.
big, you saw the Discovery merger, right? Like the Discovery WB
Mhm.
buyout and all that. So it's going to be interesting to
Yes.
see what happens, not just to the side of entertainment of like movies and TV shows, but also what happens to the comics.
Yes, it's gonna be really interesting now that
Yep,
that's
yep.
going on. So you'll notice that I am not in my usual space. I'm actually in my little brother's room because I was
I was about to ask
traveling.
about that. You got kicked out of your
Yeah,
house.
I got kicked out of my house. I'm moved back in with my parents. No, I'm just kidding.
That was a never mind. Yes.
Yes, no, I'm visiting my family for the week in Pennsylvania, and so I have been relegated to this room with
Really?
this lovely
Is that Mordor? Middle Earth?
no, it's a map of the Holy Land.
Oh! New Zealand.
Yeah, it's from New Zealand. Yeah, exactly. So, and a couple of
Everybody should take a
Christmas
pilgrimage
lights.
to New Zealand to see Hobbit Town. I mean,
That would be my
right?
pilgrimage. Yes, I agree. So, yes,
I wanted
don't
to
think
talk
Jake
about
locked
that
me.
today, man. What's up, Spencer House?
Hey,
And how's everybody
Spencer.
doing? Thank you all for joining us this Saturday. So grab a drink and we're ready to talk about Moon Knight episode 2 and then a couple of other little things that have been going on in the world of comic book / movie entertainment.
Yes.
What's up, Roy? How you doing, brother? And my
Hey,
buddy
Roy.
Laugh Hard and James, of course. But Omar has been banned from his DC contact probably after the whole Discovery thing. What's up, Max? How are you, brother? So yeah, in case you're joining us for the first time, we do talk about spoilers because we figure we give it a couple of days before everybody has a chance to see it. I'll be honest, I didn't watch it until this morning because I was busy watching Yellowstone season 4. And oh my gosh, we should
Talk about that.
does Yellowstone even have a comic? I don't know, probably not. It's just such a
Yeah.
good show, just like Cobra Kai. I love Yellowstone. So as soon as I saw the ad, like season 4 now available on Peacock, done. There goes my week. That's all I'm doing.
I know. I didn't even realize it was out because I've been traveling in a way, but now I know what I'm doing the rest of this weekend. Besides Mudkip Community Classic Day on Pokemon Go on Sunday from 2 to 5 your local time.
That's okay. Cool.
Cool, yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
So we do talk about spoilers in case you haven't seen it or in case you don't care. You're more than welcome to stick around.
Exactly. And I know some folks were probably expecting us to do something about Morbius, but did not get a chance to see it yet. And honestly, I don't know if I am looking forward to it when the time.
I don't know anything about the ending, and I know people are like, "Oh, even my brothers know about it." I'm like, "Don't say a word," and they were like,
Oh, I know about the ending. Again,
Of course you
there's
do.
like no desire. Yeah, you know me. I don't care about spoilers, but there is no desire. But I will
Marvel
see it.
Bab? What's up, Matt? Dude, what are you doing up this early? It's Yellowstone.
Oh, what?
You don't even know, Matt. Yellowstone is where it's Kevin Costner's finest performance outside of
Yes, agreed.
A Perfect World. I'm a Costner fanboy, so I love everything he's
He
done.
is.
I'm the guy that's like Wyatt Earp is a better movie than Tombstone, and no one says that. Field of Dreams, Robin Hood, even though he didn't have a British accent, but you know what? It's Kevin Costner. He gets a pass. Waterworld,
Only person. He gets a pass for not having.
And what else was he in? Oh, The Postman. Yeah, I don't care.
Which one did he win the Oscar for? Dances with Wolves? Is that the one he got the Oscar for?
He won the Oscars for Dances with Wolves, which is a
Yeah.
phenomenal movie.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But
No, he is phenomenal in Yellowstone. I mean, I wasn't sure about it, but because I love Succession on HBO, and you got those legacies that family drama, but instead of being a crazy uber conservative media conglomerate family, we've got this ranching like family out in Montana, and it's just take those and put that storyline, and it's a whole different ball game. There's so much more to it, and 1883 is really good too. That's the prequel that shows how their family got to the point where they're at. and how they made their
I need to
life in
watch
ranching.
that.
You
So
should.
is that part of the Sheridan universe then? 1883?
Yes.
What
Yeah.
about the Mayor of Kingstown? Is that also part of the
Oh, that's a
Sheridan
good.
universe?
I don't know if it's part of the universe where it's in the same universe as Yellowstone because it's modern. So I don't know if it takes place in the same. It's like in the same United States as Yellowstone does. It's a good question. I'm only a couple episodes in on Mayor of Kingstown,
I need
so
to watch it. I heard 1883 got picked up for a second season.
that's
I
not
think.
surprising. There's some
Yeah.
great, yeah. I mean,
I love
most of the
Taylor.
main characters. Oh, never mind. I don't want to talk about it. So
Yeah, let's not talk about it.
oh, about
I
to
do
spoil
love
some stuff.
Taylor Sheridan is like one of my favorite creators.
He's
Like
yes.
I had no idea the guy from Sons of Anarchy was such a good writer. Like I love his movies. I love the feel of his movies. I love the soundtrack in all his movies and TV shows.
Yeah.
I did the only one I was a little bit disappointed in was the one that came out last year, I think, with Angelina Jolie with the fire. She was like a firefighter.
I think I know what you're talking about, but
It had Shane from The Walking Dead, Punisher. I can't remember his name. If Yellowstone,
John Barenthal.
Yes. If Yellowstone's the new Dallas, then who is JR? And when did she get?
Well, that would be Kevin Costner's character. Yeah. He's
Kevin
JR.
Costner.
But when is he gonna get shot? Wait a minute.
Are the Moon Knight spoilers done yet? No, not yet.
No, not Project Viking. No, man. But we're glad to see you on board.
I heard that they're doing in 1932.
Yes, that's what they're doing.
Well. Yeah.
Yes. So instead of a continuation of the 1883 story, the next season I think takes place. Like they jump to a new family, new generation. That's how it's gonna work. But so what I've heard.
In my head, everything is in the Sheridan universe. Evening, everyone.
By the way,
make it live. How's Amanda doing? Yeah, how is Amanda doing for your Reader of X? How are you, buddy?
I'm doing good. I am getting my new Pokemon Go account back up to where my old one was when it was tragically terminated.
Playing for so long.
Because
I'm sorry, I'm in the wrong room. I was looking for Moon Knight content.
Oh, sorry, no. You want Moon Knight content?
You got Moon Knight content, okay?
Let's talk about Mark Specter and Steve. We'll talk about my Pokemon Go woes in a second. All right. Thank you for bringing us back, Fetty 138 proof, to what we're going to be talking about tonight, which is Moon Knight episode 2. Where did they drop the F-bomb? Let's talk about that in a little bit because it's circulating and I've been watching this clip over and over again and I just think it's censored, but we'll talk about that in a second.
Okay.
All right. So obviously this episode is taking place after the big battle between the jackal that we later learn in this episode, Harrow summons with his cane, which is a gift from Amit. But the Steven goes to the museum after the events. He wakes up, of course, in his bed after everything is all over. He goes to the museum, talks to the security guard because he thinks he's going to show him, like, look at what happened. But it turns out when you look at the cameras, it's just him by himself, just making a total disaster. So, of course, he does get fired from his job at the museum, which I guess is not a terrible thing. But it is really nice that the HR manager does, give him advice about going to a mental health group and everything like that. That's kind of nice that happened. But instead, he goes and talks to his living statue, Crawley, and he's telling him what's going on. He's like, I think I need to figure out what's going on with all this stuff. I've found some things hidden around my apartment, and one of those is a key to a storage locker. So he takes that key to the storage unit and finds his storage unit, and when he opens it up, oh, thank you so much.
No, he's talking about me, but go ahead.
Oh, he is? Okay. He's right about that. Everyone is JR in Succession. That's so true. They're just the worst people, but the best. Anywho, so when he gets in the storage unit, he realizes there's like a cot there. There is like
there's a QR code there.
There's QR code.
Moon Knight 43, I think.
Oh, that's right. I think there is, isn't there?
That was the QR code in this episode. And each episode has a QR code.
That's so clever.
And in this one, it's a QR code to Moon Knight 43.
Okay, and we'll talk about what that issue is about after this. I'm sure it's related to it. Is it related to it, or is it just, hey, check out this?
Well, the first one was his first appearance.
Okay.
Like Werewolf by Night. Moon Knight 43. I don't know. Like it was Mark Specter, because I can't. No other Moon Knight title has made it up to 43 issues. Like the classic Bill Sienkiewicz and Doug Mensch, that didn't make it that long. Not as far as 43. So it's the Moon Knight, Mark Specter series from the 90s. The series that was ended in like 66, 68? Yeah. But that one was like part of the Infinity War, if I'm not mistaken. I'll let me see if I can find the issue. You keep talking.
Yeah. Oh, Roy. By the way, Roy, I love your avatar. But he wants to know if there's a QR code in Near Mint Condition in episode 3 when adding something else.
Yeah, we're gonna start our own QR and start selling NFTs.
Yeah, I mean,
whatever.
Omar
Once I figure out what that is.
Omar could talk to his contacts at Marvel. I'm sure we can make something work. So when he's there, he finds an array of forbidden things like lots of cash, a really nice gun, passport for Mark Specter, and of course, that pesky golden scarab that Harrow's character was trying to retrieve from him in the previous episode. And then this is the first time we also get an actual conversation back and forth between Steven and Mark. So they do use the mirrors here again as the way for them to communicate, which I think is a great way to do this. It's very clever.
They've been using that mirror motif for a while, like in every one of these episodes, the 2 episodes that have been on. Yeah.
I do like that instead of some other way. I was trying to think of other ways they would possibly do it, and I'm thinking like a disembodied voice or some kind of spectral, like we don't need anything like that. I think the mirrors actually work really well because you're seeing mirror images of each other, and I think that's what this is about, right?
Yeah, it's a cheap practical effect.
Very cheap. And fun fact, when he does those scenes where he's talking to himself, they used his own brother as a stand-in.
Has he got a twin brother?
I don't know if it's a twin. I just know it's his own brother. But you know how siblings, sometimes they look very much like me and my second sister because we're like very close in age. We look very similar. She's like the tall, skinny version of me. So
Wait, and haven't watched this episode yet, but I just want to say hi. I love y'all. Much love back to you, Rodimus Prime Rib.
Back to you.
Yeah. I can see that. You Amy using your
reflection
to like AARP.
Yep, exactly. AARP. You sure I'm not that older than her. So
go ahead.
They're having a back and forth between each other, and clearly this whole where they're both very aware of each other's presence has never really happened before. And it's at the
Moon Knight 43. I don't know what this has to do with the episode, but this is Moon Knight 43.
Is it available on Marvel Unlimited? Because I think I'm going to download it and read it just to see. I bet it is.
It's part of the Infinity War crossover. Yeah, sure it is. Yeah, it is. So read it.
That's awesome.
Hey, Omar, Amanda, so happy to catch a live show. Happy to have you here, buddy.
Happy to have you as well. So after the back and forth, he realized he's like, I'm going to tell them what you did. I'm going to go to the police. I'm going to tell them what you've done to, you've ruined my life. And he takes the scarab and the money and the gun in a duffel bag and he runs. And as he runs, of course, he is then pursued by Khonshu's terrifying form with his raven head. And as he escapes the storage unit, he ends up literally running into Layla, the mysterious voice that we heard on the phone towards the end of the last episode. And we actually get to see her now for the first time in the flesh. And of course, he jumps on her bike and they're having a whole conversation. And she thinks that he's Mark pretending to be this other person and he's lying to her. And she doesn't understand why he's lying to her. Takes her back to his flat. She thinks go ahead.
I was going to say, and on the bike is where we learn that they're married, Layla and Mark. Which
they're married and they've been working together to find the scarab too.
So Layla's not a character from the comics, and please correct me if I'm wrong, because I think I've read enough Moon Knight. I don't remember any Layla in any Moon Knight comic. If anything, maybe she's a take on Marlene, like from the comics.
Oh, that's possible. I remember her from the comics, yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know. I've never heard of Layla, or maybe it'll be a twist, right? We can talk about that here in a little bit. Go.
Yeah.
Keep on going.
Yeah, well, just quick thing. We're getting a couple of folks who said that the QR code's actually for Werewolf by Night 33.
Oh, it's not for Moon Knight 43? Interesting. Thank you. Thought the code was for Werewolf by Night 43.
All right, now look that issue up while I'm talking and figure out if that's...
Okay, now I'm confused because I thought the first So they're just going in chronological order?
There you go. That makes sense. 32,
Okay, so
33.
yeah, the last episode was Werewolf by 932, which is his first appearance. This would be his second appearance where him and Jack Russell actually team up and are like, hey, you're not so bad of a guy. Anyway,
Let's do this.
thank
Okay.
you all. Thank you all.
When they head back to the apartment or to the flat, then we start to learn through the whole thing. First, she thinks that maybe he's with someone else, but of course that's not the case. But we also learn that Steven unwittingly enjoys many of the same things that Layla enjoys, like French poetry. He's able to quote one of her favorite poems, which he says is also her favorite. They also have a shared love of hieroglyphics. So it's really interesting that he has who does it. So Mark's alternate personality, Stephen Grant, shares many of the same loves as his wife, which is a very interesting. We can talk about that in a little bit. But of course, this is all short-lived because there's a knock at the door and it is a couple of cops. And I said in parentheses because
yes,
they're not really cops. They are Harrow's, or they could be cops, but they're also Harrow's followers.
Now, it's important because their names are Bobby and Billy.
Oh, are those the...
And
go ahead.
If you've read the comics, and I don't know if they're going to do this in the show, those were the two orderlies that worked at the mental hospital in Jeff Lemire's run of Moon Knight.
I remember
so
that.
I don't know if there's going to be a big twist later, like, oh, he was crazy all along. But since the comic books, they're borrowing heavily from not just his run, but, a lot of other creators' runs.
Yeah.
I found that interesting. Maybe it's just a little nod. Maybe it's an Easter egg they want to throw in there. But that is something that stood out to me.
That is, I've read that run too, but I didn't catch their names that closely to recognize it. But regardless, they want him to come with them. And of course, Layla had taken the scarab and she kind of ran off. So he goes in the car with these two people thinking they're cops. He's not realizing they're Harrow's followers. And they start going through Mark Specter's rap sheet, right? So he's killed some folks. He has a pretty, bloody history. Let's just say that. Because he is a, kind of gun for hire kind of guy. So, of course, Steven is upset about this. And then he realizes where they've taken him, which is to Harrow's compound, if you will, where everyone speaks 3 languages so they can share the word about Amit. And of course, Harrow understands that, or realizes and recognizes that his mind is broken, because he even makes a comment that maybe Khonshu had chosen him because of his mind is so broken. So he could be easily taken over and used as an avatar, and decides to kind of befriend the Steven personality and tell him a little bit about what he's doing, about the role of Amit. And we learned that they want to bring Amit to the world because Khonshu's version of justice, he was banished by the gods, or the gods did not like him. And we also learn that Harrow was a former avatar of Khonshu, and he despises him because he feels like he doled out justice too late after the evil was already done. Whereas Amit, she is going to prejudge people and she's going to eliminate people before they could do any evil, which of course he's trying to, we have Mark in the reflection saying, don't tell him that Layla has the scarab. Don't tell him that Layla has a scarab. And you have Harrow asking about the scarab, and then also, talking about what Amit's plans are. And I love that Steven, taking his own agency, decides to ask Harrow some very important questions. I think that, I don't know if his followers were asking, but clearly he's a very enigmatic guy that I could see why someone would follow him. And that's just a testament to Ethan Hawke's performance. But he asked the questions, but what about children? They haven't done anything yet. So I'm not really about child murder. I mean, are any of you people? And then Harrow makes the interesting comment. Sometimes the cure is also a little bit of the poison type of thing. And of course, he's, the followers are all getting ready to attack Steven if he doesn't tell them where the scarab is. But too late. Layla comes with the scarab. A fight ensues. He releases the jackal with Amit's scepter cane that she gave him as a gift, because he's her first avatar. And the scarab is important because it will take them to Amit's tomb, which is why they are looking for it.
In the comics, like, that is something of Khonshu. Like, there have been avatars before Mark Specter. And I found it interesting that Bobby also told him about Mark Specter being a mercenary.
Yes.
And like a dig in Egypt, which is exactly the origin of Mark Specter becoming Moon Knight in the comics.
Exactly.
You have the character, becoming the avatar for...
as a way to save his life, really. he's offering that as a way to save
It
his
is
life.
a little weird to be listening to somebody talking about vengeance, especially after watching the Batman.
Yeah, I
The
am vengeance.
similarities. I figured they would want to kind of stay away from that, but so all right, yeah, let's
Yes.
keep going because we do have a twist with the character of Harrow or Stephen. Almost said Stephen Dorff.
Nope, not Stephen Dorff, Ethan Hawke. But they all
Ethan Hawke.
they were all very popular in the 90s.
Of
So
course.
that makes sense. Yeah. So as they're fighting, Layla
What's up,
keeps telling
Colin?
him to summon the suit. And he's like, what? And he gets knocked out of a window and he's like, summon the suit. And he summons the dapper Moon Knight suit, not the
Mr.
actual ceremonial, so he's Mr. Knight instead of Moon Knight. And he's like, ooh, I look good. And Mark's like, what the hell is this? Like, that's not the suit. Get the other suit. Like, he's like, no, I kind of quite like this suit. And he starts to fight the Jackal, which we then learn right here at this point when the Jackal does emerge, that no one else can see the Jackal. I'm assuming Harrow can see it because of him being Amit's avatar. And then I'm assuming that Steven can see it because he's Khonshu's avatar. But when we see, like, there's it's very physical, right? This is a lot of physicality and acting for Oscar Isaacs and his stunt doubles, because it looks like he has to fight himself essentially, because you have those scenes where they show he's fighting the Jackal, but nothing's there. So this is quite a physical section of the entire thing. But eventually, Layla's in danger, and Mark convinces him to let him take over his body. And he does. Ceremonial outfit comes back on. He's able to defeat the Jackal, and they have to escape because Layla's gone, and they have to escape. And as they escape, we see that a homeless man, because he had dropped the scarab, a homeless man picks up the scarab. And then we see Ethan Hawke's character. He doesn't use the judgment. He takes the scarab and he kills the man without ever placing any judgment upon him. And Layla sees this before she drives off. And then we get our two, another great scene between Mark and Steven, where Mark is now in control of the body. Steven's in the reflection, and he's talking about how it feels so confined, and he's like, feels trapped. And he's like, you'll get used to it. You'll calm down.
Me of, like the genie in Aladdin.
Yeah, exactly. What?
No? Why
no,
do you agree with that?
But I don't know. And he feels confined, and he's like, you'll get used to it. You'll get used to it. He's like, I don't understand what's happening. He's like, I don't know either. It's never happened before. But it seems like whoever is now in the body has more control over our mind. And Steven's getting all upset, and he starts yelling at him. And then we get the scene where he tells him to shut up, shut the, we think he says the F word up, but it's debatable. But apparently a lot of people do think he says the F word, and we can talk about it a little bit. He breaks the mirror, which of course mirrors is how they communicate. So that kind of severs that communication. And then Khonshu appears. And then we learn a little bit. Khonshu says, I'm the one who saved you. I brought you back. This is not part of our deal. And you really want to change the parameters of our deal because you know who I want to pick for my next avatar. And basically we know from this episode that he wants to make Layla the next avatar. And that is why Mark's kind of pushed himself away from her, because he doesn't want Khonshu to have access to her at all, because he doesn't want her to become the next avatar. And of course, he's like, what do I need to do for you? What do I need to do? He has a scarab. He's like, well, you know where we're going to go. And then he's transported to Egypt. And we have an amazing scene where you see Steven looking like in dismay, sitting down in the mirror, and then it pans to the actual Mark Specter, who looks like he's been drinking a little bit and kind of halfway passed out, overlooking the beautiful pyramids in Egypt. And we get that amazing end credits music. And that's where we're at.
And that's where we're at. In Egypt, which is where we're going, I guess, next.
Of course. And it was filmed on location there, so.
So it turns out that Harrow was originally the Fist of Vengeance at one time. And I guess he can't hear him anymore. He can't hear Khonshu anymore.
No. But he can guess what he's saying to him, which is really interesting.
Did you enjoy the superhero landing that he did?
Yes, I did.
In the Mr. Knight outfit?
Yes, I thought that was very on point. I loved it.
Yeah.
Love that outfit too, because that's one of my favorite Moon Knight the Mr. Knight
Yeah,
outfit. It's
that
really
was from Warren Ellis's run. He created the whole persona
Yep.
of Mr. Knight, and
Mhm.
it's like he's kind of a guy that helps the police out.
Yeah.
Um, what did you think of this episode? And anybody else that has watched it, what did you think about this one compared to episode one? Because now we've gotten further from the trailer footage
Oh,
that we've
yeah.
seen, and it's like it's its own thing. Where do you think it's going? Like, what is it that what are things that you liked or didn't like?
Sure. Well, I really enjoyed this episode a little bit more than the previous episode because I felt like we started to get more of the story and piecing together more of the puzzle of this Mark's Steven personality dichotomy. I'm still really interested to see where they're going to go with this
Mhm.
because is it really going to be the DID or are we going with the idea like he tells him he can get his body back as soon as he's done. I keep thinking like, did he create this personality just like he did in the comic books? Is that going to be a twist? Just that they've always had these two personalities this whole time. So I'll be interested to see where that takes us as far as the route of the characterization of Mark Specter and Stephen Grant. But I enjoyed this a lot more than the first episode because we got to find out a lot bit more. We're getting now the action's really getting started. We're on our quest. So this is the beginning of whatever the quest is for the next. It's 6 episodes. The next 4 episodes. Now we're gonna really see where the quest is gonna take us. Because I wasn't quite sure exactly what the main conflict was going to be, and maybe I'm wrong, and we still haven't really gotten to the main conflict, and there's gonna be a twist. I've read
Mhm.
that for those who are lucky enough to have seen like up to episode 4, there is a twist. So I don't know if maybe what I'm thinking
Oh,
is wrong.
people got to see episode 4, like, reviewed it?
Real reviewers, yeah, not like
What happened now?
like Rotten Tomatoes, like approved reviewers
Rotten
got to
Tomato approved
see
review.
up to 4.
Dude, I'm gonna cancel you from your own show. Um, I didn't enjoy this one as much as the first one. I thought the first one was, even though I didn't give it a big higher rating, I thought the first one was fun and it set up the character. But with this one, it kind of made me worry, like, how long are they going to use this, the whole gimmick of like, okay, who's in control
Yeah.
of the body now, and who's really the original host of the body? Was it Mark Spector? Was it Steve Grant? Or was it Jake Lockley that we haven't even seen yet? Um, I appreciate that they're using some comic book stuff in here. It doesn't like to me, these movies and TV shows don't have to be like the comics. They don't have to be comic book accurate.
Mhm.
I'm okay with a difference in the approach and the visuals that they're going. Still love the Moon Knight costume. I think the Moon Knight costume to me is one of the best ones, far better than some of the comic book costumes that he's donned. I really like the almost like the mummified look to this particular Moon Knight.
Agreed.
Um, eh, there were things in here that you watch enough Marvel movies and enough of the TV shows, you kind of start guessing where they're going, especially in the direction of the character. Like the character will say something witty after a big fight and take. Remember when I said about the first episode, like they played that music, and it seems like that's a very
Yeah,
Marvel thing to do to kind of tone down the severity of what's going on in the actual
exactly.
scene. And I feel like that's what Marvel does. Like they tone down things, they put a little bit of humor. And to me, it happens in the comics too, and it aggravates me because to me, that character is Spider-Man. Spider-Man's the guy that talks witty and
During a battle,
makes
yeah,
fun
in
of
his
things
head. Yeah.
to make the seriousness of whatever's going on, toned down. It seems like every one of the MCU movies has that going for it. And now we expect it. And I was hoping that they would have a more serious tone to this particular show. I'm not saying it should be like I'm vengeance, like, but I wanted a
Yeah.
different take on a Marvel character. I do appreciate that they're gonna go with the dissociative identity disorder route. So I don't know. I kind of I want the next episode to move on. I want to see more Moon Knight.
I agree with that. Yeah.
I'm a little tired of
Stephen Grant,
Stephen Grant moving around.
bump
Like,
down. Yeah.
yeah, 2 episodes of that, I think that's enough. So this one to
Yeah.
me really didn't stick
This
to the
one gave
landing.
us more action, but again, I do see where you're coming from with it wasn't Mark Spector's Moon Knight doing the action. It was Stephen Grant who just figured out he had super strength when he summons this suit that he
Right, that was
made.
interesting.
And it's like he's enjoying it, kind of like we've seen other characters who never knew they had superpowers before and then get the superpowers the first time and they kind of are goofy with it. Like Tobey Maguire when he tries to jump, across, buildings and nearly falls and hurts himself, right? All that stuff. So I was worried about that part of it when I saw that fight scene. Cause I was like, can we just get Mark Spector in his suit? And I think now that we're in Egypt, he now has control of the body and it looks like he's keeping Stephen at bay and he has control, that we are going to see the actual Moon Knight. And going from episode 3 on, I don't know what the dichotomy between what they're going to do with the two characters and how they're going to, what their end game is with that. Is it giving Stephen his body back? If that is his body, is it them living harmoniously together and working together since they're now aware of each other? I don't know what the end results is, but I hope that now that Mark's in control, we are coming next episode, we're going to see more of the action that we're expecting and more seriousness, because Steven's the one who kind of makes the little jokes and things like that. But I can tell that Mark's a little bit more serious and we might get that tone change. So, and maybe that's the point, right?
And so even if we get a Jake Lockley.
Yeah. Now you have to, who's he in? Because I'm not familiar with him.
So Jake Lockley in the comic books is the
the cabbie. I'm sorry, the third one, the cabbie. Yeah.
Okay. And even Mr. Knight was a different kind of character in the comics. He was like a detective. He was not like fist fighting character. He was like, let's solve this crime with my detective skills. It will be interesting if they skip out on Jake Lockley and make Layla the third persona.
Whew.
Like, and then we're talking, okay, that's an interesting twist that you're taking some chances doing that. That's pretty cool. A lot of comic book people wouldn't see it coming, it's just
there's so many questions. No, it's not formulaic, but how would we explain the marriage and the issues? Because it is interesting you say that, because she talks about how they work together to try to find the scarab. Her and Mark.
And you notice they're into the same things, like the poem.
Yes,
made me think of that. Like,
yeah,
I mean, and there are couples that are into the same thing and can finish off poems. It would just be interesting if that's what they're doing instead of the character of Jake Lockley making her one of the people.
That would be quite an interesting twist indeed, and explain that would be insane.
I don't know. It'll be interesting to see where they go. I'll still watch it, but I didn't enjoy this one as much as the first one, and I'm hoping that I want to see more action. I want to see more Moon Knight kicking ass.
Yeah, I'm excited that we're going to go on location now. That will be interesting, because they did film on location for these particular, in Egypt coming up. What we're going to be seeing.
I was like, what? Like on location.
Yeah, because I know that I think they had to use somewhere. Oh gosh, where'd they use they used a museum in Budapest to do the exteriors for like the London's National Gallery.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think they used a lot of London for those scenes, but they used over in the Egyptian or the that area. So hopefully that means we're going to be seeing more of the on location stuff, and I'm interested to see where this is gonna head as far as there's so many questions I have about Harrow too, and Amit, and what does she believe is evil, and how much of it is her and how much of it is Harrow? Like, who determines what's evil and what's not? I mean, is
even
lying on a test evil? Like,
he deals with question. That, right? Like why he does this?
Yeah, because what is justice?
And I still get those Venom vibes from Khonshu. Visually, he is a creepy looking character, and I kind of wanted to go a serious route, but instead there's just a little bit of that MCU kind of humor in the character, in that
they know.
god.
I guess they know the people really like that Venom movie, even enough
Stop
to
it.
make 2 of them.
Stop it.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's definitely better and more menacing when you see Khonshu talking to him as Khonshu, right? Instead of the
Oh yeah,
voice.
Khonshu
That's
instead
a
of the voice.
much yes. If we could just
Like
get
when
rid
he's
of the voice.
chasing him, when
Oh,
Khonshu is chasing him, that was creepy.
terrifying. Yeah, every time he does that. And even when he's just talking to Mark at the end, because he
That
talks
was
to him in his form, it's way more intimidating to see that than hear the overlay because it does, the out of body, disembodied narration or talk in his head because it does give you that Venom's vibe. And if Venom hadn't come out, we may not even be making the comparison.
No,
But
but even
unfortunately
then,
it did.
I would still be a little disappointed in the route they're going. None of London was used. Special effects are very good. What's up,
Yeah.
Malachi? Khonshu looks awesome, but I really wasn't expecting him to sound like. Yeah, we talked about that in the
About
first
the last
episode. Like, I wanted him
episode,
to have like a, I don't know, like a raspy, dry voice because he's an old god. Reminds me of Jeff Lemire's run. Yeah, we definitely get those vibes. To be honest, this show does not make me curious about the next episode. Don't let it lose you, man. There's only 6 of them. They can pick
Yeah,
it
there's only
back up.
6.
Freeze frame right on his face.
Yes. That was a weird okay, so that was a weird cut, right? When he was freeze framed on his face and all of a sudden he was outside. It was a weird choice to do that. That was a weird choice.
Yeah, so but the things that I did enjoy are still the same from the first episode. I mean, Oscar Isaac is great. I can't wait to see him. I know that this is supposed to be like a little corner of the Marvel MCU universe, and they've sworn that he's not going to be part of the big overall. Like, it's not going to lead into the next thing. But honestly, I'd love to see him in like a Secret Avengers or just interact with other characters. It'd be great. That's the beauty of these MCU TV shows and movies. It's like you can expect it one day to have a Avengers Endgame kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like all these characters coming together for the first time. So yeah, I'd like to see that, or maybe like we were joking about the Night Stalkers with Jared Leto, Morbius, and
okay, let's not go there.
Ryan Reynolds, Hannibal King.
I don't think that's ever gonna
I don't think so either.
No, but yeah, I mean, for me, this episode, I like that it's giving us or starting to move the story along for us. That's what I really enjoyed about it. And I really like Oscar Isaacs in the role. So for me, that right there, his acting and what he has to do in this role to play the 2 characters that he has to play and the subtleties between the 2 characters, like the handsome Mark versus the bumbling Steven. I think that for me really drives watching it. That and Ethan Hawke. I mean, it really is for me. It's about those performances that really drives me to want to keep watching the show, and the awesome costume. I really enjoy the costume.
Yeah,
I think it's.
I want to see more. Okay, it seems like
I want to see more of it, right?
Yeah, and they've done a great job. I assume the costume, with the exception of a couple of things, is a lot of CG, especially like the cape, because it's just the way he moves. It's so impractical, you can almost tell. And that was the only thing and that was the other thing I was disappointed in this episode when he was fighting that jackal. In the first episode, we see him beat the jackal down. In this, he's fighting the invisible jackal, and I was hoping to see more of that.
Yeah.
I know, I get it, but I was hoping to see more,
now that Mark's in control, there's a good chance next episode you're going to see more of that type of fighting versus Steven, who had no idea when he put this suit on that he didn't know existed, that he could fight like the best of them.
What is that? Is that fighting?
Fighting like the best of them. Yeah, that's me. I'd be Steven Grant if I had that. If I had that suit, I'd be like, "Oh, look at me!"
That was a hoedown. Okay, got you. In the comics, Khonshu more serious, no? He's more serious in the comics. Every once in a while, you see him when Khonshu's wearing the suit. I always like that. That happens in some of Warren Ellis's run and in Jeff Lemire's run, and in Bemis's run. But yeah, it's more of a serious tone.
Yeah. Now, my question here: we have these Egyptian gods. But we have established,
hey Larry,
in like the likes of Thor, which we know that they're gods on Earth, but they're really aliens in some capacity. Same with like the Celestials. But then who made the Celestials? And it gets the question like of these all the theologies and things that we're getting thrown in here, right? Because even with the Eternals, all the Greek mythology gods are really just the Eternals, right? That's how the humans at the time could make sense of them and their awesome powers, is that they were just these mythological figures. So it does beg me the question of where are these Egyptian gods in that whole realm? Where is the MCU going to place them? Are they aliens? Are
well,
they?
that's the thing that you always question whenever you are whenever you're reading comics, right? Like, okay, if Phoenix is the incarnation of this cosmic being, Thor and the Asgardian gods, are they really gods? Like, what exactly are we dealing with? And it is really cool to take that because, retcons happen in comics, but there's this beautiful book by Mark Waid, The History of the Marvel Universe, that best explains everything in chronological order. And I think that's, the more the universe, the MCU expands, the more people are going to be asking these things. Okay, are these Celestials, are they gods? What are we talking about here? Or is it science? Or is this? It's the same questions.
Yeah.
People reading comics have been asking for years. Lifetime MK fan. So disappointed with this. My MK isn't a magic boy. It's a little different, man. That is for sure.
Yeah.
Coming soon. Disney Plus. Ancient Aliens.
Wait, isn't Ancient Aliens? Wait,
on History Channel, I think. Maybe.
Oh, then that must be on. Is that on Paramount? I know it's on one of the streaming services, but I didn't think it's not National Geographic's, right? Because I thought there is Ancient Aliens on Disney Plus. It's on one of the streaming services.
I thought that was the History Channel thing.
Oh,
I didn't
okay,
like
then maybe
that they say that Khonshu was like a kid, which explains better his personality in the show. That is true.
Yeah.
It's definitely a first world problem for Marvel, but they're releasing so much stuff that it makes it hard to appreciate something that's out. This feels like something that killed time before Doctor Strange.
It is, yeah. I can see that.
There's a lot of truth behind that. It feels like, ooh, what's the next thing? Like you're already excited about, Miss Marvel, or when is the next What If?
Thor Love and Thunder.
Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special.
Yeah, they have so much coming out there. You kind of skip over to, especially when this one isn't connected to whatever this main storyline is, which seems to be taking place in the multiverse. When it has no connection, you start to wonder, is it worth watching?
Stargate reboot.
Especially if you are someone who's not as invested, who doesn't like, you just want to, if you're not like a MCU like diehard, right? And you're just watching because they're superhero shows or superhero movies. Is it worth skipping if you're the average Joe not to watch Moon Knight? Because you'll go see
I am curious, like, about those people.
I don't talk to those people. I don't know. Everyone on the chat, I'm assuming, are diehard comic fans. So it's hard. I don't talk to those people, right? If anyone in the chat is just one of those regular Joes who doesn't really know anything about comics, goes to movies,
like
let us know. How did you find us?
Just coming in here, I'm like, hi, I don't know anything about comics, but I sure do love Oscar Isaacs. He played the best version of Apocalypse. Said no one. What's up, Leo? How's it going? Ancient Aliens is a History Channel, and that funny. Yes.
Oh yeah, that dude. Yeah,
he's great. Is amazing.
I love that guy.
So yeah, everybody that's watched this episode, Amanda, out of 10, what would you give this particular episode to?
I gave an 8, right, to the last episode.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that for me, I will give this a 7.5. Because I think it's leading up, and I think 3 is going to be pretty deep. I think 3 is going to be where it's at. I'm hoping. I hope it's not till season 4 because we only got 2 episodes left, and then we're done. So I hope season 3 or I hope episode 3 is where it's at because that's a halfway point.
7.5 out of 10 for you. And yes, anybody in the chat that has seen this, please by all means leave your rating. I didn't dig this one. This one kind of felt slow to me and kind of more of the same thing that I was worried was going to happen. It did have a few highs, but for me, it had more lows. I don't know, 5.5, I think. 5.5 out of 10. Well, I'm sure, it'll pick back up. Maybe. I hope.
That's why like I said, see, episode 3 is our halfway point. So if it doesn't pick up by then and get to where we're seeing Moon Knight and we're seeing the action and we're seeing more more of this plot filled out, then I think it's going to lose a lot of viewers.
8 out of 10 from David. 7 out of 10. 7.5. A lot of people agreeing with you. 6 out of 10 from Kit. Samuel is late, but that's okay.
Oh, sorry, Sam.
Come on in here, man.
Just hit that like button and then go rewind and watch what we had to say.
You got to do that. You got to do that. Spencer
hit that like.
is giving it a 7. Split personalities out of 10. A solid 6, as we anticipating episode 3 more for Rio Moon.
Yes. I hope they know what they're doing and they expect that people are they know people want to see Moon Knight, because that costume has to be shown more times than just the 5 seconds it's been on screen.
I do appreciate that Roy is giving it a 7.5. I do appreciate that it's taking chances, right? Like, they're not going with the stereotypical origin story of Mark Specter. They're jumping into the this idea that
he's already been
he's already been the Avatar, which is kind of the way the comic book started when he appeared in Werewolf by Night. Then a few years later, you got his actual origin. So
gotcha.
And then you got the whole creating the personas of Jake Lockley and Stephen Grant, and then later you got the idea of like, okay, maybe these weren't really personas, but they were just part of his personality and who he was. Yeah, it's interesting that we're at the point of Marvel where now they're, Eternals was experimental, I guess. I still don't see, other than being long and boring, what the experimental.
That was experimental. Yeah, that was experimental indeed.
And we're at that phase, like, okay, now let's see what works, what sticks, and if people still watch it. I always worry about that, right? Like, you get comfortable, even as a content creator. That's something I always worry about. You get comfortable and you put out the same lackluster product and just riding on the name and the popularity of whatever came before. And people take notice. Like, eventually people will take notice going, that wasn't as good as the original. But everybody's different. I mean, I don't like Ant-Man and Wasp, and that movie did really well.
You do not like it
really well, yeah, man.
And I have a strong feeling you're not gonna be a fan of Quantum Mania when it comes out either. I don't know. I could be wrong.
I can't wait for.
I could be wrong.
My favorite villain. Now that's what I'm talking about, man. It's like they did the same thing with Kang. They kind of made him into this.
You saying they're neutering some characters for the sake of what? Keeping it family friendly content.
Keep it an MCU. You got that MCU. I appreciate it when they do that with some characters. I actually like what they did with Ultron. I know a lot of people hated that.
Yeah, but James Spader really made that character.
Yeah, well, I mean, they made him into like a more humanized type of robot instead of like one-dimensional villain, like must destroy everything.
Which is great. And James Spader really helped out, I think. I mean, it takes whoever's behind that voice as well, which I think is a lot of what people are having issues with Khonshu. I mean, F. Murray Abraham is, a little bit of different actor than I think.
About a 7. I'm as confused as to what's going on with Stephen Grant. That's a good rating, Mark.
That is a great.
About Urza? You mean?
We do need to talk about Ezra. We've got a lot of stuff.
Falcon and Winter Soldier more, and also these were not one of the shows. 5 out of 10 for the first 2 episodes.
So here's what those. So Dean, it's interesting you bring that up because a lot of people felt like those were shows. Well, maybe not maybe Hawkeye too, because a lot of people didn't like how they neutered Kingpin a little bit in the last, in the fight scenes and stuff. But like Falcon Winter Soldier started off really strong. Even like WandaVision for what it was doing, which was very inventive, started very strong. But then a lot of people complained that they ended abruptly, or they wrapped up too quickly, or they didn't stick the landing, right? So I wonder if we'll see the reverse with this one. I'm really curious, given what Dean was mentioning. Will we see the reverse where you have this slow buildup where everyone's not really sure, but our landing's going to pay off? A reverse of what we've seen in previous. I don't know. I could be wrong, but I like to
I like doing theories, though. It's a lot of fun. Shang-Chi was refreshing for having a villain who acted like a normal human being instead of. I really liked that movie.
Me too.
I was surprised by how much I liked it. It redeemed Iron Man 3. A lot of the problems that I had.
Oh yeah, Ben Kingsley, 100%. Yeah,
amazing in that movie.
And Trevor, not Trevor. What's the little thing's name? Trevor is his name. What's the name of his?
I don't know, little butt creature.
That little butt creature that he loves so much.
DC is always chooses dark and gritty approaches, while the MCU aims for comedy and family friendly. This is true, but Peacemaker was not just dark and gritty, but it also had that humor
Very
that
funny.
James Gunn puts into it, and it had a lot of heart, which surprised me.
Which
for a
is
character
also
like Peacemaker.
Yeah, but it's also James Gunn. That's a James Gunn trademark. I mean, that's why the Guardians movies are probably some of the most beloved movies. If you ask anyone what their favorite MCU movies are, even your average Joes will say
Iron Man
Guardian.
2.
No,
Oh, no,
that's
nobody
what
said
you would
Iron
say.
Man.
And you all hear it first. Omar said Iron
I
Man 2
did
is his
not say that.
favorite,
I hate that movie.
followed by Ant-Man and the Wasp, then Thor: The
the
Dark
things I hate.
World, then Incredible Hulk, then Captain Marvel. Those are Omar's
I
top
didn't
right
hate
there.
it. I
Top
didn't
5.
hate Incredible Hulk as much as
Top
other people. I did not like Captain Marvel though. That's very middle of the ground. We should go do it. Was it really that bad about Captain Marvel?
Yeah,
That
we
was,
should, because it's been a couple years since we reviewed the original thing.
just to see how
I'd like to come
I've
back.
only
I don't
seen it
know
one
what.
time.
No, I don't think we should put ourselves through that. The trolling
think-
that would happen on our would be too much.
I think enough time has gone by. Enough time. People have gotten over Brie Larson. Like they respect her as an actress now. Dude, those people never forget. I remember how much hate we got. And I remember being so pissed because I was like, I don't even like this movie.
And I'm thinking,
like, I'm actually taking up for the fact that, like, because people were like downvoting the video because, yeah, we were reviewing Captain Marvel. Like, I'm all about a difference of opinion. You can hate on something, but come at me with your own original thoughts. Don't come at me with regurgitated garbage you heard somewhere else. That's something that is.
And don't come at me about the person's politics. I have nothing to do with the movie itself. Tell me about the movie.
I didn't know anything about Brie Larson until all those people started chiming in, and I'm like, what? And anyway,
because they're the same people who think that. Yeah, exactly.
I think you're right, Omar. For the first time, I'm going back and watching Daredevil series, and boy, it's much darker than these Disney shows. Love that series. Love what the series did with Kim. Yeah, it is, and I wish they would. They did change the ratings, right, on Disney, where you had to like.
You have to accept it. Yes, because I had to do that. Yeah, and this is TV 14, so they're trying to aim it like towards a more older audience.
There's a lot of shit bombs being dropped. 6 out of 10. This one was slow. Felt like it didn't advance. Agree. Hawkeye and Falcon Winter Soldier started strong and ended really bad.
Yeah.
See, I thought Hawkeye started slow, and I really liked where it went. That one episode where him and Kate were talking, that did it for me. I'm like, this is this is a great show. I thought that was a great episode. And you threw in my Florence Pugh. WandaVision suffered a lot from the pandemic, I think.
True, they had to.
Morris, was it
Morris? Morris is the name. Yeah, Morris is the butt creature's name. Yeah.
Thank you all. Thank you, Morris. Yellowstone reminds me of the old series, The Big Valley, just updated from the 80s, 60s. I think these guys had it, man. They said it was like Dallas.
Dallas, yeah, I can see that.
You'll hate me for this. But Iron Man 3, dude, that is your opinion, and that's all that matters. As long as you love it.
Vieilla Crom, me too, because Iron Lad's in it. I mean,
shut up. That's not a thing. Quit making up characters.
Oh, it's a thing. It's a thing.
Look, Roberto Rodriguez yelling. Yes, Captain Marvel was really that bad. Dude, you know you had a tear in your eye when they played I'm Just a Girl. Shut up. Iron Man, Winter Soldier, Guardians of the Galaxy, Ragnarok. Nothing comes even close to Iron Man 1. Really? Larry, I love Iron Man 1, but man, to me, I think my favorite MCU movie is still Infinity War. Like, I thought Infinity War was so perfect. It was like watching an anime that I used to watch as a kid come to life. It was like reading all about all these characters that I read as a kid. It was insane. Now, the lead up to, I think, Avengers was perfect. I don't think that can ever be duplicated. Like everything.
No, I mean, and they can try it now, but I hope that Feige is smart enough to know we can't just regurgitate and redo the same thing. I think he's mentioned it too that they don't plan on doing that.
Yeah, you're right. You're right about Shazam. Shazam was light and funny, and that's why it worked.
And had a lot of heart.
Is Morbius any good? We haven't seen it.
We haven't seen it yet. That's why we didn't do it today.
Maybe we will for next week. Maybe we will for next week.
I need to go see it. I need to make that plan.
I hate paying money. You should pay my way to go see it, and that's how I'll see it.
I didn't say we needed to see it.
Now I know we don't need to see it. I don't think anybody needs to see it.
Sony does the 45 days till it's out, right? On to buy or something. I mean, can we just wait 45
You'd
days? We've
rather
waited this
buy
long.
it? Iron Man 3
I
is
don't
also
know.
my
No.
favorite. I love the kid plus the battle on the boat. You like
Thank
the
you,
kid?
Roy 21. Yes,
God,
Ty
are you
Simpkins, Iron Lad for the win.
I'm gonna time you out, Roy. Iron Man 3 was fine until that ending, which made Iron Man just a suit that anyone
Yeah,
could
that's
wear.
true. It is more. Yeah, that I can see where that
Here's
criticism comes.
here's some of Colin's favorites: Winter Soldier, Ragnarok, Guardians are top 3. Winter Soldier is a freaking awesome movie. That is a great movie. Watch Moon Knight weekly because after several months, probably they'll remove all the blood. Oh yeah, so
Yeah,
what
they
is
did that
it
with
that I
Falcon
heard
and Winter
about that?
Soldier.
What did they remove from Falcon Winter Soldier?
I think they edited some of the more graphic content out from what I've heard, which sucks that they would do that. I thought that the whole idea
They
we
just
have the
put
rating system
yeah,
because
the
we have
rating thing.
Daredevil and Punisher, and those are very graphic shows. So I don't understand why they would edit it out. Maybe I haven't watched it or rewatched it, so I don't know what was edited out. I might have to go back and rewatch it and see if maybe on mine it's edited out, but maybe on like my daughter's it's not. So I have to check it out to see, or vice versa. Sorry, it would obviously be edited out of my daughter's, not mine, because she would have the
I was
kids
gonna
account,
say what?
not mine. Should
I gotta
we
share
got
this
like
photo my
no,
buddy
you're fine.
Brian just
We got
sent.
let me see it. We got 4 minutes until we end. Do you want to talk about some news? 'Cause I
Yeah,
know
let's talk about
everyone's
some
asking
news.
about
Omar, so
Ezra
question, what
Miller.
do you Epic reprint poll, I think we stopped that on Monday, so it might be out next week or the week after that. Men in Black, my best Marvel movie. Hey, we did the was it better than the movie? Guardians of the Galaxy sucks. It's not part of my library in the MCU movies. I feel
Dang.
that way about X-Men 3. X-Men 3, my friend bought
No,
the box set. I took X-Men 3 and I
through the
think I
trash.
gave it to some no, I actually gave it to somebody. Amanda, you sure watched the first Insidious movie? Because it has Ty Simpson. That's that kid's
Ty
name.
Simpkins. Yes, I know he was in it as a
Whatever
small
his name
child,
is.
but no, I will not watch it. I will watch Jurassic World again because he is in that as a small child, but I will not watch any horror movies. I don't care who's in those horror movies.
She
The
don't
only thing I don't care. It doesn't matter. I
No,
will not watch it.
you don't
No,
care.
I'm terrified. I need to sleep at night, guys. I can't. Even these little Christmas lights won't do it for me. That's
This is what my
exactly
buddy
what he
Brian
said.
said.
He did say it. I think it might have been, I was rewatching it. I could play it for everyone and we can make that determination, but I'm pretty sure that he it was just like he was like censoring himself. It almost sounded like he said it. You know how you like that's I feel like it was
Yeah,
kind of like one of those
like the
things.
Oscars.
Yeah.
I don't think anything will top WandaVision. All right, so what we got to talk about, Panda?
Okay, so quickly before we head out, let's talk about some news. I know some people mentioned it. Ezra Miller. So last week on the show, we talked about his crazy ride in Hawaii that came out after he won a Best Cheer moment.
Apparently, Ezra refers
I'm sorry.
they.
So
I didn't know until somebody corrected me.
ooh, I
Was it on
apologize.
Saturday stream?
Probably.
Maybe. I don't know, but it's they, them.
My
So
apologies.
have fun with that because I'm old and I can't keep track of what I'm saying. So
Well, so apparently the Rolling Stones has reported the Rolling Stones, sorry,
Rolling
magazine.
Stones, the
Yeah, the
group,
Rolling Stones
they
themselves,
report things now.
the whole
That's
group.
awesome.
The Rolling Stone magazine has reported that Warner Brother has held an emergency meeting about the actor's future with the company. Because keep in mind, we have Fantastic Beasts and The Secrets of Dumbledore comes out next week, I believe.
Which
this
all
week?
reviews of that have said that's the best Harry Potter movie ever.
Well, actually, they're saying that Mads Mikkelsen should have been casted from the start. A lot of people are enjoying his performance, and I mean, not saying
Actor.
He's a great actor, and I mean, I didn't know. I don't care about anything that happened with Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. That's not affecting my thing. But to me, I felt like Johnny Depp's acting with weird characters was becoming one note for a while. So I was like, he's gonna do another crazy take on a character, and that's exactly what he did with Grindelwald. It doesn't matter; it's here nor there.
Blood Moon.
So I might go see it because of that. But I'll be interested to see if Ezra Miller, if they do any type of promotion for the movie when it comes out. But apparently, Warner Brothers has been having talks about the future because if we know he's also the Flash, which has been delayed till next year. So
it's been delayed till next year. I thought it was coming out in November.
I believe it was delayed until 2023, right?
Oh my gosh. I forgot. I think you told me, yeah.
For some reason, it was pushed back till March 2023. So I don't know at this point there's anything they could do except give Grant Gustin a chance, but
No, they're not.
they're
They'll
gonna
recast.
you think they'll recast
No, I mean, they would rather recast than give a TV actor a
the
chance like
role,
that for
which
the
sucks because
yeah.
Grant Gustin would do a good job. Everyone loves his version of the Flash. And Ezra Miller, they have basically kind of, you know, they need some help. And it is an interesting look for Warner Brothers because it does feel a little bit hypocritical of them, I guess, at this point. So we'll see what they
A
say.
movie about someone with super speed being delayed is
That
constantly it's very
I do
ironic.
it is very ironic.
Now, if it's coming out in June of
Yes.
2023,
Uh-huh.
what day in June? Do we know?
No, March 17th of 2023.
Oh, I thought it was June is what they were saying.
No, it is or wait, was Aquaman coming out in March? Maybe Aquaman's March.
Aquaman got pushed back too?
Yes, Aquaman was All right, so Aquaman, The Lost Kingdom, and The Flash
Well,
are being pushed to
okay.
2023.
Is that real? If it's coming out June 23rd, that's crazy. 'Cause
Yes, it is.
June
It
23rd
was supposed to come out
is when
November.
Batman came out. The
Oh,
1989 Batman movie came out on June 23rd, 1989.
wow. That is
So maybe they're
weird.
doing that on purpose.
Oh, because of Michael Keaton.
Well, I
Yeah.
assume he's still in the movie unless he
Well,
does
yeah,
something
at this
crazy.
point, that may be the only person who's promoting the movie because they may
Oh yeah, Ben Affleck.
distance
Ben Affleck get canceled? What happened to Ben Affleck?
No, he's still he's okay now. He's dating
He's okay
J-Lo
now.
again. It's like we're back to
Oh, that's good.
2002. It's all life's good. Yeah,
I know
it
that he
is
got in
true.
trouble for blaming his wife for his drinking problem, which is
Something you
not
don't
the
do.
best look when you have a drinking
No.
problem.
Yeah, you can't blame that on someone.
Like, that's not a good look to
Yeah.
me.
So I'd love to hear everyone's thoughts. I mean, if you're watching this after the fact, put your comments below. What do you think that Warner Brothers should do with Ezra Miller at this point? Do you think they should just let it go and let them still be a part of these movies and still promote? Do you think they need to do some kind of, limit their screen time or limit their time doing publicity? What do you think their next steps are going to be? Because I'd be curious to see what everyone thinks. All right. So big piece of news. It did just emerge. Will Smith is barred from attending the Academy Awards for like the next 10 years.
But he gets to keep his Oscar.
But he gets to keep his Oscar, which considering that, what's his name, who was convicted of raping a child or who's that gentleman overseas? Roman Polanski.
Well, first of all, he's not a gentleman if he's doing this.
No, I know he's not. Well,
you talking about Roman Polanski that couldn't even fly into this country?
Yes, exactly. That gentleman, if he could still get his Oscar, then this is the slap hardly compares to that. Yes, Will Smith could keep his Oscar. Interesting take on that. That's what the route they chose. He's already resigned from the Academy, so he's no longer a member. So he doesn't have voting rights
I
anymore.
think resigning from the Academy was probably a PR move.
Yeah.
You want to do that because the way I see a resignation is, say you're going to get fired from your job, right? You'd rather quit and have a chance of coming back later than being on the record that you got fired.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's why I thought, well, maybe that's
it is a PR move. He's saying I'm being the bigger man.
Wes Polanski, yeah, that's what she's
Yes, exactly. That's who I'm talking about. Yeah.
With the victim.
Exactly. So that's interesting though, but I know a lot of stuff has been coming out. It's hard for me to feel like I guess that's what they could do they felt was the best. And, I do feel bad for Will Smith in a way.
Oh, no. I don't think there's anything wrong with feeling bad for him. Remember last week I said I'm all about forgiveness, but also give me a little bit of time, right? Like things have to process. You can't just do things like that, accept a speech and then expect and then everybody give you a standing ovation, because that leaves your fans going, what? Like it was weird. In a way, I'm the same way. I feel bad, like
Yeah.
because I don't know the man's mental state. I don't know. Obviously, he needs help too. Uh,
Yeah.
I, and you never know what somebody is going through. Just because people are multimillionaires does not mean they don't suffer from depression and other things.
Well, yeah, and I
You
know
never know
things have
what
been
somebody goes through.
emerging about his marriage, of course, and things like that. So it's yeah. I think at
Yeah,
this
yeah.
point
I mean,
he's the
obviously, he definitely needs he
some
definitely
work.
needs some professional help too. Yeah,
Yes.
and maybe he'll get it. And maybe he'll
Exactly.
come back better, and he can come back and do another rap album,
Where he might actually cuss in it, unlike
Big Willie
before.
style with Eminem.
Big Willie. Transcendence, thank you. So they said it was a mistake and they're fixing the edited scenes. Again, I don't
Oh,
know.
cool.
I don't know if they were or not. I would have to rewatch it, but I don't think that I have so much to watch. Rewatching Falcon Winter Soldier is not on my plate right now.
Yeah, not one of my favorites. Not one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Will
So
Smith would be making straight to streaming movies like Mel Gibson and Liam. What
they're
happened
still
to
making
Liam
money.
Neeson? Okay, I get the Mel Gibson.
I
Did
just think
Liam
that
Neeson do something?
no, I honestly think that he just making direct to streaming stuff because he's
You joking on
become
my boy Liam Neeson?
no, I think he's getting casted in these movies that have a particular like they don't need to be put on the big screen because they're the same
I
type of
got you.
movies over and over again. And I think that's what's happening. So James said WBAT don't care.
No
Well,
care
actually,
anymore.
that's
No.
not true.
Oh, it's
Warner
not.
Brothers, it's still Warner Brothers' problem. Warner Media was purchased by Discovery. It's not AT&T's problem anymore,
Yeah.
but it's still Discovery Warner Brothers' problem. So with the new merger, so this is a good segue for our next topic that people have mentioned. Discovery, which is
Wait,
a very
Liam Neeson, Marvel Bab? I
no.
didn't hear about that.
Oh, he was racist. There we go.
That's past
I thought
tense.
that was Mel. He's not
No, the
anymore.
Mel
I thought that
Gibson
was
thing
Mel
I
Gibson.
get. Even though he did come back and gave us like Hacksaw Ridge, right? Like Mel Gibson
Yes, which
disappeared for a while
then he gave
because
us Hacksaw Ridge which gave Andrew Garfield his first Oscar nomination.
yeah. But if you're talking about Liam Neeson, I really have not heard about that one.
Oh, that's what Max said. He did do. You're right. Now that I'm thinking about it, he did do an interview where he said he had racist thoughts like 40 years ago.
Oh,
And I think he did say something that sounded a bit racist. He made a comment. I think I remember that.
I don't.
But I think at that point he was already just making the straight to streaming movies because he has become kind of like an actor you could depend on for this particular type of role. That lone guy with a gun who's going to go out and like fix everyone's problems. Above the law kind of guy, like the Taken guy.
Taken.
Yes. So, yes, Discovery, a little cable network that started in 1985, unthinkably has been able to assume ownership of Warner Media from AT&T, so the big AT&T conglomerate, and that the merger happened on Friday afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
They announced it in May. I think we talked about this too, that they were announcing the merger because they thought, I think that AT&T didn't want to have anything to do with entertainment, so they thought we'll give Discovery the Warner Media, so all the entertainment, because I think that at the time they were all kind of one thing. That's why you see a lot of Discovery stuff in there as well. So now Warner Media has been purchased by or merged into Discovery, so they are now one company. And that does create it gives them more of a competitive stance in the streaming marketplace. It kind of puts them, as far as they're a lot beefier of a company than say like Netflix and Apple and Amazon. So
Yeah,
be interested to see like what those other companies do to kind of rival that. And the person's going to be who is overseeing this whole thing is David Zaslav, who is a veteran cable TV executive who's been running Discovery for the past 15 years. And the new company will be called Warner Brothers Discovery. And let's see, what else does that mean for us, Omar? Now that all these things we're talking about, Food Network, HGTV, TLC, HBO, CNN, TNT, TBS, all those things are all now one
I guess
company.
Rachel Ray can be teaming up with Batman, trying to solve some crimes. I don't know what that means, really. I don't know how it's going to affect the comics. And the saddest thing about all these mergers, like, and it makes sense from a business standpoint, that your first focus, your first order of business is, of course, to focus on the thing that brings in the money the most. And comics are not up there. Not for DC,
Yeah.
not and Disney as well, right? Not with Marvel Comics, not as much as they'd like it to be. So the very first thing that I'm sure they're going to focus on is the entertainment.
That's
the
that's exactly what they are. Yeah.
And the IP, what should be renewed. As far as comics, I think that's probably bottom of the barrel. People may lose their jobs. People may shift positions.
That's what's that's the biggest thing.
I don't know what will end up happening, because the last merger was horrible. It was horrible for them. They lost 40% of their employees, and it was not just DC Comics. It was across the board.
Yeah,
it was everyone. So I don't know what's going to happen.
And I mean, I don't posit myself as an expert on mergers or anything, but they did assume 55 million or 55 billion in debt. So they're going to have to, their investors are going to pressure them to start paying that down. And apparently they vowed to find $3 billion worth of savings between the two companies, which will, of course, end up being layoffs with overlapping functions, right? There will be overlapping business functions. And we know Discovery, their tradition has been making low-cost nonfiction programming. And he even said in one of the calls to the investors, he pointed out, he said, we plan on being careful and judicious, and our goal is to compete with leading streaming services, not to win in the spending war, which obviously we know Netflix spends a hell of a lot of money on their stuff. Again, we can only speculate. They only disclose so much. But he's pointed out that recent runs of HBO scripted dramas like Euphoria, The Gilded Age, Succession, he seemed more than sufficient for the network. And he said, would HBO be doing better if it had 3 more really successful scripted series right now? It's not clear that they would be. So let's not hold our breath that we're going to get a bunch of brand new content from this new merger. At least not the content that, if you're looking for scripted shows, you're not going to be expected to see that stuff. So
it is really interesting to go back just 15 years and think about, where did everybody want to work? Everybody wanted to work at, like, if you were making movies and TV shows, the place to go to end up at was HBO, because you knew the content they were making. Everybody was going to be talking about, whether it was The Sopranos, 6 Feet Under, maybe I'm thinking 20 years ago. But then, like, now everybody's rival, AMC, everybody can rival the TV shows, the kind of money they can spend on these things. Oh, yeah. I got comics are dead. DC's living off Batman. The jig is up. Man, last time I listened to somebody named Pyramid Scheme, I got taken.
I love that name.
Comics should have gone the animate, but they did try to go the animate route. Look at all the DC animated movies. They're all done by a Korean or Japanese studio. So in a way, they didn't. And we even had a Batman Ninja. It's just not there. Like the demographic is a lot different than it is in Japan for these things. I mean, comics can always do better, and that comics have been dying since I was a kid. Larry, was that the same case? I'm pointing at Larry and Mark now. I don't know if Mark and Larry are still here. Was that the case when you guys were young too? You had the older people going, comics are dying. So
it's always
like that since I was a kid.
The never-ending, but it's interesting because, like, the CEO of AT&T even said it was the hardest decision of his life to bow out of the entertainment business. But he makes an interesting point, and this is where, like, stuff like Paramount might have to find a way for themselves to get bigger. He said there's HBO, Disney, or HBO Max, Disney, Netflix, Amazon, and Apple. That's 5. You don't want to be in position 6, 7, or 8. At that point, they'll say we have to find a dance partner. And so that's where places like Paramount Plus, right?
Yeah.
Mark and Larry is a sitcom couple.
No. I just know Mark and Larry are the 2 people in the chat that are older than I am. And I was just wondering, people have been screaming comics are dying forever since I was a kid. And it's the same thing for Larry. There are not enough. I only started reading manga after getting an anime. People need the audio visual hook these days. I mean, manga and comics are a completely different thing too.
Yeah.
For the longest time, they've been out selling comics. Doesn't mean that these companies and publishers are getting rich off of it, because they have to pay for the license. They have to pay the artist. And God bless the mangaka artists too. Like, those creators they are not living a dream like they can here in America.
Yep, exactly.
Oh man, I didn't know you were 46, brother. Well, cool. All right. There was rumors back in DC would end. Yeah, that was the other thing. DC Comics would stop like publishing in July of 2020. I remember hearing that. Comics will also rot your brain. This is true. Anything else, Amanda, in the world of entertainment?
No, we are, last thing, we are going to get a Legally Blonde 3 if anyone's interested. And
why
I don't know.
Why would that be the last thing?
And Mindy Kaling's writing it, but she said she did promise us that she's not going to try to ruin it like the Sex and the City and Just Like That. So even she didn't like that series. I don't know if anyone watched it, but it was not good. So even she realizes the mistakes that thing made, and she's going to try to do better. So that's all I got for tonight.
We're ending it on Legally Blonde 3.
No, we get it on the Warner Media. Let's say Paramount Plus is going to have to step. Paramount, the parent company, will need to step up their game, because, and then also Zaslav. What a great Zaslav did note that, keep in mind Discovery Plus is still its own streaming service. So right now they're looking at options of bundling HBO Max and Discovery Plus, which I will not buy because I don't care that much about Discovery Plus. But there's a point they may end up just be merging. He has mentioned that as well. So if that's the case, everyone be prepared for a price increase if you get HBO Max. So
This
just keeping that on.
Awesomest question we got tonight so first, the name is Blood Moon.
Yes.
And the question is, do you guys think Batman could beat Moon Knight on a full
I don't know. That's a good question. Does the full moon? Okay, I don't know that much about Khonshu's powers, but since he's the moon god, would that give him? It's Batman. He'd find a way.
But he could not be out detective by Mr. Knight, and that's where I'm going to end it. I'm ending it on that note.
Good job. All right. So thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. And remember to follow us on all of our social media channels at nearmintcon. Remember to check us out on Spreadshop if you want any awesome Near Mint Condition merchandise. And also check us out on Patreon if you want to support our little channel. For $1 or more a month, you can get some really awesome perks, like exclusive access to Omar. You could get your own psychic reading by Omar if you want to. He is quite the psychic, so you could do that.
Yeah.
And even the chance to be one of his 15 personalities, just like in Moon Knight.
I do.
And then last but not least, if it's classy and cool, it must be near mint. Good night, everyone. Good journey, and we will see you all next week.
I'll see y'all tomorrow. Bye.
Or he'll see you tomorrow, y'all.